Call the meeting to order. Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I call on the roll, please?
Councilperson Thacker.
Here.
Councilperson Weger.
Here.
Councilperson Dees.
Here.
Councilperson Norris.
Here.
Councilperson Wilson.
Here.
Councilperson Thompson.
Here.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Here. Thank you. You have before you the minutes from the June 7th, 2022 Sunshine Meeting. I ask that you please review those minutes and note any corrections that need to be made. If there are any corrections that need to be made, I ask you state those at this time. If the minutes are correct as presented, I'd entertain a motion to approve as presented.
President Loudermilk, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve by Councilman Norris, second by Councilwoman Wager. I'm sorry, Wilson. Any additional comments before we vote? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker.
Aye.
Councilperson Weger. Councilperson Dees.
Aye.
Councilperson Norris.
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson.
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson. Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye, motion carries. We now have the meeting minutes for the June 14th, 2022 meeting. Again, please review for accuracy and note any changes that need to be made. Again, if the minutes are accurate as presented, I would entertain a motion to approve as presented.
President Loudermilk.
Councilwoman Thies?
I was absent chaperoning students for that one, so I'll abstain on the vote for it.
Yes, you were having fun, weren't you?
60 people. Chasing them around.
Thank you.
President Loudermilk,
Councilman Thacker.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
So we have a motion on the floor to approve by Councilman Thacker, second by Councilwoman Wager. Any comments or questions before we vote? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker.
Aye.
Councilperson Weger.
Aye.
Councilperson Dees.
Abstain.
Councilperson Norris.
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson.
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson. Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on, we'll open up this portion of the meeting for public comment. Ask that public comment be limited to items not on tonight's agenda. Ask those wishing to make a public comment approach the podium, sign in with the paper provided, and state your name and address for the record. So with that, we will start our public comment segment.
Mr. President, fellow members of the council. My name is Richard Shagley. I'm an attorney at the Wright Shagley and Lowry here in Terre Haute. Tonight, I'm here on behalf of Saturn Pet Care. I'm here tonight just to kind of give you I guess you'd call it a heads up. In the next week or so, we're going to be filing on behalf of Saturn Pet Care a request for a tax abatement for personal property. They would like to invest about $15 million in a new line in their current facility down in the southern, at the Pfizer plant. They're anticipating this will create around 60 jobs. 45 of them would be hourly with an average annual payroll about $2.7 million, and then 15 salary for an average of about $1.5 million. And I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up, and I'd also like to invite you, if you would be interested in a walkthrough of their current facility and kind of give you an idea of what they'd like to do with your support in this tax abatement. We would like to invite you to the plant on August 19th at 10 a.m., if that would work for you. I will send out an invite, and if you could just let us know your ability, and if that date does not work for you, we'd be happy to set up something that is more convenient for your schedule. But the 19th is kind of the date that we're kind of shooting for. It's a Friday. Saturn Pet Care is under, they have a new COO locally, Andy Vocal. And with him comes a kind of a new philosophy at Saturn Pet Care and a desire to use local vendors for work at the plant. And I think you'll see in the upcoming weeks their dedication to that particular issue. But again, I'm here tonight just kind of give you a heads up, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from council? Councilman Wager?
Did you say, what was the figure that they're asking for on the abatement?
They're going to be asking for a 10-year abatement for about $15 million worth of
15?
10-year abatement on $15 million worth of
$15 million,
equipment.
thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments from council?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shagley.
Mike Morris, County Commissioner. Two things. Tie removal should start on the Riley Trail spur this week yet. It's a project to take approximately 1 month with the debris to go to the Eagle County landfill. Also, the lights in the restrooms, which was asked about last meeting, should be done tomorrow, scheduled for tomorrow. Thank you.
Just a quick question. Did you get the contamination study back? I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, they're good with it to go to the landfill, yeah.
Okay, I was just curious. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else like to speak at this time?
Yeah, I'd like to try to talk. I've been out here 10 minutes trying to get in here, tried to open up the door, no sign, couldn't get in here. You know, I've been driving around the building, trying to get in here, no sign up there, door's locked. You got to contact somebody to get into the building. You know, if it's going to be some type of a situation you have to do to open up the door. you know, especially when you're having a meeting at 5 o'clock, shouldn't be locked to the public.
It
You
is
know,
supposed to
and
be
I
on,
have to drive around the building because I'm care for public, and I'm driving around the building, and I can't even, you know, get entrance to the door unless somebody just let me in.
I apologize, the door is supposed to be unlocked. Not sure why it isn't. Thank you. Is there anyone else like to speak at this time?
Whether it's proper time to speak or not, but I'd like to speak on your last meeting. I'm Roland Baker, live in Bergen Church and Singhurst Crossroad. Number one I'd like to speak on is this project out here to close this off to one entrance to this building for 1.3 million is my understanding. I think is ridiculous. And most of the people working here probably
I don't disagree, and unfortunately, the county council doesn't control the locks in the building. It's other personnel that we'll talk to. So I appreciate your concern. Get it. Thank you, sir. Does anyone else like to speak for public comment? Communications from elected officials, other officials, or agencies of the county. From the council like to speak? Councilwoman Wager?
Mr. President, we have a visitor here this evening from the University of Tennessee. You might have heard of him in the past. He played basketball 4 years at Indiana State. He was in the top 4 highest scorers in all the record books. This year he's playing as the star point guard for the University of Tennessee Volunteers, and he's back to visit and distinguishes us with his presence tonight. Tyreek Key. Stand up.
Thank you. Anyone else from the council like to speak at this time? I just want to give a quick update about Baker Tilly. There's been a lot of discussion lately about expectations and when we could hopefully see a return on the study that was commissioned. Clissa Miller and Kara Wright have recently spoken with representatives from Baker Tilly, and the information they have most recently received is we should not expect anything until September 6th at the earliest. So we're still about a month out. I cited several different reasons as to why, but nonetheless, we are still a month out. So I just want to at least provide that update. I know it's not the news people wanted to hear. We expected for this to come back quite a bit sooner, but unfortunately, that's where we're at right now. So it's going to require a lot of work on our end in September. So just be prepared for that. Any questions or comments? Moving on, reports from committees. There are none. Resolutions and ordinances other than appropriations. First up, we have the first reading of the Vigo County 2023 budget.
The notice to taxpayers is available online at www.budgetnotices.in.gov or by calling 888-739-9826. Complete details of budget estimates by fund and/or department may be seen by visiting the office of this unit of government at the Vigo County Auditor's Office. Notice is hereby given to taxpayers of Vigo County, Indiana, that the proper officers of Vigo County will conduct a public hearing on the year 2023 budget. Following this meeting, any 10 or more taxpayers may object to a budget, tax rate, or tax levy by filing an objection petition with the proper officers of Vigo County not more than 7 days after the hearing. The objection petition must identify the provisions of the budget, tax rate, or tax levy to which taxpayers object. If a petition is filed, Vigo County shall adopt with the budget a finding concerning the objections in the petition and testimony presented. Following the aforementioned hearing, the proper officers of Vigo County will meet to adopt the following budget. Public hearing date is Tuesday, August 9th, 2022 at 5 p.m. at 127 Oak Street, Terre Haute, Indiana, 47807, which is the Vigo County Council Chambers. The adoption meeting will be Tuesday, September 13th, 2022 at 5 p.m. at 127 Oak Street, Terre Haute, Indiana, 47807, which is also here at the Vigo County Council Chambers. The estimated civil max levy is $39,624,339. The property tax credit estimate is $10,923,970. The total budget estimate of all funds by Vigo County is $84,693,792. $693,490. The total max levy for Vigo County is $51,700,000.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? There are none. Moving on. ROC 2022-28, resolutions 2022-11 and 2022-12, terminating real property and personal property tax abatement hearing for Midwest Investments LLC and D&D Automation, Inc. We had a discussion about this last Tuesday, the Sunshine Meeting. There were representatives here to speak on behalf of this termination hearing that we had last Tuesday. It appeared as though council seemed to be satisfactory with the explanations that were provided to us. I'll open up the floor at this time for any comments or concerns you have about what was presented to us last Tuesday. Any discussion from council?
I just wanted to reiterate, what I took away from it was that there seemed to be legitimate reasons, a clean room situation that they was kind of beyond their control of, completion, so that they were not, it was very, understandable why they were not in compliance at this time.
Councilman Thacker. So we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Thacker, second by Councilwoman Wilson. And that is to move that they are substantially in compliance with the abatement.
Mr.
Mr.
President, I think we have a resolution that's before the council as well, so I think if you may want to amend your motion to either withdraw or defeat the resolution.
To terminate.
Yeah, I think,
So defeat the two resolutions, if that's what we desire.
yeah,
So we can do that, we can do those together, both resolutions. So if the motion was to be to defeat the two resolutions that are in our packet, pages 11 and 12, so resolution 2022-11 and 2022-12, which call for the terminating of a real property tax abatement and the terminating of a personal property tax abatement. So I think what maybe we need to do is vote to defeat both of those, however that language needs to look. Absolutely. So we need to withdraw the previous.
Yeah, I withdraw the previous motion that they are substantially compliant, which they are, but in order, since we have a resolution, I'll withdraw that and make a motion that we defeat the resolution to terminate real property tax abatement 2022-11 and resolution to terminate personal property tax abatement 2022-12. That's satisfactory? Okay.
So we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Thacker and a second by Councilwoman Wilson. And it is to defeat the two aforementioned resolutions. Any questions before we vote?
So a vote for this is, a vote for yea is to vote to defeat.
Correct. Is everyone clear on that matter?
well, you know, the way you made the motion.
I made a motion to defeat. It's if your motion, you can make a motion for something or a motion against something, is that right?
Right.
And then the way I understood is that we have a resolution already on, so we had to make a motion to either approve the resolution to terminate or to defeat the
Everybody
resolution
knows
to
what they're
terminate.
voting for.
That's why I wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page, if that's okay.
Everybody's on the same
Yeah,
page.
I think everybody's clear, yeah.
Okay, so.
Motion is to defeat, so an
Yes.
aye vote is to
Yes.
turn this down. All right. Make sure we're not turned around here. Is everyone clear?
That's my concern.
I believe I would do a motion to approve and then vote
And
no
then
on
everybody
it.
vote no.
Everybody vote no on it.
Well, whoever is against it will.
Yeah.
You can make it either way, and I made it already, and I'm not withdrawing this one, as I already withdrew one, because they were substantially compliant. So if you want to put for it, then if you vote yay, we defeat it. If you vote nay, we don't defeat it.
Is everyone clear?
Okay.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker.
Yay.
Councilperson Wager.
Yay.
Councilperson Thies.
Yay.
Councilperson Norris.
Yay.
Councilperson Wilson.
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson.
I like it.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye. Motion carries.
And that's for both. Yeah,
So, Mr. Effner, do we need to also offer a motion to suggest they're substantially in compliance or
Or did
not?
that handle?
I don't think that's necessary at
Okay.
this point in time. You defeat the resolution.
Okay, I just want to be clear. Thank you. Moving on. ROC 2022-35, Resolution 2022-09, modifying local income tax rates, annual allocation of township fire safety agencies. So as you would recall from last Tuesday, there was some concerns about language and changes in what is accepted through DLGF. We have, as a county, submitted our rebuttal to their understanding of, or their interpretation of statute, and we are waiting for a confirmation as to whether we can move forward or not, as we previously have. As of just before tonight's meeting, Cliff Miller was contacted through email that they still had not reached a decision as of yet. As I said, we've operated under certain guidelines for the past several years in good faith. I think it was the intention of the council to continue to operate under those provided guidelines that we previously had, and it seems as though we still have the appetite to continue to do that. So I would like to be able to have the opportunity to provide for the fire districts as we have in the past. And it appears as though the way the public notice was written, we were to have a decision reached today. In talking to Mr. Effner, if we want to continue down this path, maybe the most appropriate direction would be to, instead of adjourn the meeting, recess the meeting so we could discuss this at a later date after the information comes back from DLGF, and if we have to offer another rebuttal, then we can do so to build our argument for what we're hoping to accomplish. It may be in the interest, if we were to recess the meeting, maybe in the best interest to give ourselves roughly 2 weeks, try to get it done this month, because we have to get it accomplished by September 1st. So if we're looking at 2 weeks out, that puts us at August 23rd. So in order to accomplish that, we would need a couple things. We'd have to have a motion to table this item, and then, rather than adjourn the meeting, when it comes time for that, recess with a desired date to re-meet. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Any questions, Councilwoman Wilson?
Make a motion that we table it until August 23rd at 4:30.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we table this until August 23rd at 4:30. 4:15.
We can, either's fine, we can make that,
I think the table, you don't have to have a time.
You're
Oh, essentially,
recessing.
well, I thought that's only when you close the meeting that you did that.
Well, when you recess, you
Yeah.
have to then too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if we don't
August-
have the information, that means we still have to meet that date, right?
Either way, you have to.
Either way.
Right. So hopefully we had the information back from BLGF by then.
I'd second the table.
So the motion on the floor is to table, and with a proposed meeting date of August 23rd, which is a Tuesday at 4:30 PM in the council chambers. Motion on the floor by Councilman Wilson, a second by Councilman Thacker. Are there any questions, concerns, or comments about that? Appears there are none. I'd ask for roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker,
Aye.
Councilperson Wager,
Aye.
Councilperson Thies,
Aye.
Councilperson Norris,
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson,
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson,
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Next up, we have ROC 2022-32 Courts, Resolution 2022-10, Council Support to Expand Courts. Again, we heard this request last week. There were several in attendance that spoke in favor of the expansion of the courts and discussed the docket loads, the court loads, and the benefits to expanding. This resolution would essentially be the first step in many steps to accomplish an additional court here in this county. I think there are individuals here tonight willing to speak on behalf of this if council has questions or comments. Are there any comments, questions from council? Councilwoman Thies?
I just would like to comment, in talking to people who've worked in the courts and just the amount of cases, Mr. Gamble had presented, I think, 40 cases just in a morning, and then something like that. It was quite a bit. Yeah, and so, and working with youth myself and knowing the needs in our community, and also some of the strain of the other situations, I completely support this. I think it'll get resources, and some situations decided much more quickly for families and those in need of service and support.
Thank you.
I'm terrible at making motions.
Oh, come on, do it.
Did you have a motion, Councilwoman Thies?
Got faith in you, you can do it.
Y'all like it, I just
Mr.
lost.
President,
Councilwoman Wager?
she wants me to make a motion.
I do, because I lost the page. Thank you, Vicki, I appreciate it. I
I'd
would
like
like
to
to
make a motion that we support ROC 2022-32 to begin forming another court to handle the extraordinary caseload.
And I will second it, thank you.
And that's for Resolution 2022-10, correct?
410, yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
There it is, the position I needed.
So a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wager, a second by Councilman Thacker. Oh, was it you?
It was
You
me.
stepped up, I'm sorry.
I second it.
Councilwoman Thies, thank you. Emotions are so scary, I know. So we have a motion on the floor and a second.
I know, my voice must be deeper.
Hey, Mike.
Any questions or comments from council? And ask for roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker,
Aye.
Councilperson Wager,
Aye.
Councilperson Thies,
Aye.
Councilperson Norris,
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson,
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson,
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye, motion carries, thank you. Moving on, ordinances relating to appropriations. First up, additional appropriation 2022-22, ROC 2022-29, Public Defender Legal Services. Again, we heard this last week. We believe there's a representative here that can speak on behalf of this request if,
Yeah, I just want to make sure that they were aware of this, that we're
they're aware of this, the department head's aware of it, and that they're in support of this, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Gretchen Etley. I'm the Chief Public Defender, so in that position, I'm also the department head. And I had put in the request for the $20,000 to come out of supplemental, which is generated from fees and is not an additional appropriation out of the general account. I would also note that since I was last year, 1 week ago, we have also been appointed an additional 5 clients that have been charged with murder. So hopefully this will get us through the end of the year. If not, if I have to come back. But those are the type of expenses we don't know to plan for, so we have to come back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gretchen.
Does anybody else have any other questions while I'm up here? Okay, thank you. Is this only for, did you want us to sign this if anybody speaks or just for public?
No,
comment?
just
Okay.
public comment. Thank you. Councilman Wilson.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the additional appropriation of ordinance 2022-22, the Public Defender Supplemental Fund, $20,000.
Second.
Motion on the floor to approve by Councilwoman Wilson, second by Councilwoman Weger. Any questions or comments from council? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker. Councilperson Weger.
Aye.
Councilperson Thies.
Aye.
Councilperson Norris.
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson.
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson.
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Next up, we have reduction of appropriation 2022-01, ROC 2022-33. I'm sorry, let me back up. I apologize. I got ahead of myself. Additional appropriation 2022-23, ROC 2022-31, Vigo County Health Department, repair equipment and freight. Are there any questions or comments from council about this request? There are none. I'd entertain a motion at this time.
So moved.
Second.
So a motion to approve by Councilwoman Weger, second by Councilman Norris. Any questions or comments from council? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker.
Aye.
Councilperson Weger.
Aye.
Councilperson Thies.
Aye.
Councilperson Norris.
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson.
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson.
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Now we have reduction of appropriation 2022-01, ROC 2022-33, supplemental juvenile probation department, and reduction of appropriation 2022-02, ROC 2022-33, drug court budget reductions.
It's two separate.
Yeah, they're two separate things.
Any questions or comments from council regarding this request?
President Lauren.
Councilman Thacker?
Yeah, my question on this one is just like on the other ones where we had the department heads involved. I didn't hear from the juvenile or the drug court that speak on it last week. I just wondered, I see that Norm's here, and I just didn't know if it would be appropriate to hear from the department head.
This is for juvenile.
Oh, for
probation.
juvenile, oh, I'm sorry, so
Juvenile
this is
probation,
juvenile.
not juvenile
Oh,
detention.
I'm sorry. So, did we hear from juvenile last week? I didn't recall.
No, I had worked with the chief probation officer, Deb Kessler, and Ellen Spillers, which is the office manager, because of conversations in the budget meetings. And in order to fund their budget, they're gonna have to fund their 23 budget, they're gonna have to reduce both 22 and 23 asks.
And so they are aware of it?
Yes.
Okay, that was my concern, just to make sure the department head's aware. Thank you.
Yeah, and these are focused as reductions to help us.
General health keeping.
Yes.
So why don't we do these individually?
Separately.
So reduction of appropriation ordinance 2022-01, and that is the Juvenile Probation Fund. Looks like the requested reduction amount is $1,225. So with that first reduction request, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve by Councilman Wager, second by Councilwoman Fees. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker.
Aye.
Councilperson Wager.
Aye.
Councilperson Thies.
Aye.
Councilperson Norris.
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson.
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson.
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye. Motion carries. And the second one of that request would be the reduction of appropriation ordinance 2022-02, Drug Court Fund. The requested reduction is $9,375. And with this too, I would entertain a motion to approve at this time.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve on the floor by Councilman Wager, second by Councilman Norris. Any questions or comments from council? Having none, I'd ask for roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker.
Aye.
Councilperson Wager.
Aye.
Councilperson Thies.
Aye.
Councilperson Norris.
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson.
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson.
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. We now have additional appropriation 2022-24, ROC 2022-34, Commissioners ARPA Fund, Building Renovation, Capital Improvements. Looks like the request is $1.2 million for building renovation and $2 million for capital improvements, for a total of $3.2 million for the ARPA fund. I'd open the floor at this time for questions or comments from council.
I have a question, President Loudermilk.
Councilwoman Thies?
And I guess this would be for the engineers. The citizen that spoke at the beginning of the session, is that anywhere on the map for targeted?
Sure. Mr. Roland Beck, sorry, Mr. President, members of council, Larry Robbins, county engineer. So I have been working with the state on that section of Singhurst. It's been a process to try to work through that, but that's the particular culvert that he is requesting is in that reimbursement. It is on the list. It's close to 0.1 miles south of Oregon Church. It is on that list, but not included in this funding request because it is going to be funded by
By the
NDOT,
state.
by the state.
Okay.
So that is the intent with that one.
Okay. And then when, my other question is, as he mentioned, when some of them get clogged up like that, is there, I assume that impacts the strength and what they're supposed to be doing. Do we have any kind of system to make sure that we're cleaning those out as needed, or is it just based on request?
It's basically as we find them. Mr. Baker did bring that to our attention. It is something we're trying to work on. It is not something that the structure is going to fail. It's a cost issue because it reduces the capacity of water traveling through there, so.
Kind of like what he said,
Yep.
detours.
So it will, that is a dual structure. It was replaced, a bridge structure was there originally, replaced with a dual structure. So that one, the flow doesn't go through the other pipes, so it does build up sediment. So we do have to clean that out. So that is something that we do need to get done.
Okay, thank you.
My only, under this, we've had, with having the meeting last week, we've had a lot of conversation about this, and I wasn't sure it was going to be on the docket tonight because we got an email that it was pulling off, and then that's back on. And my hope is that, just like the gentleman who spoke tonight, is that we have some public comment about this, so we don't turn into the Riley Trail where we have more public comment at the council meeting than we do with the commissioners. We're just the fiscal portion of it. And so I'm in favor of not doing these right now, so then we can get a clear picture and have a strategic plan. And it was just brought to my attention this past week that we had some money requests to the commissioners about a water project in Vigo County that we ended up having to send back $750,000 to the state because we weren't able to get funding to the ARP money with it to go along with it. And anytime we can bring together projects that are going to have either some venture capital in it or some other funding mechanisms, that I think it can give a priority. And so if we have a strategic plan, I think we can prioritize all these different projects. So my hope is that we would be able to, when we get a strategic plan, we can see everything. And that's why I'm in favor. I spoke out last meeting. I haven't changed from that. And I do think the projects have some merit, but I don't know where they score in the whole picture. And like I say, I would like to see some public comment. I think it should be a requirement that anytime before we spend any money, the public is able to see and speak about it. I know the commissioners talked about it last week that if we put it out in the public, then we don't do it, then it looks bad, But these two projects have been out in the public's eye this week, and we haven't decided to fund them yet. So that's just my opinion on it.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Councilman Wager?
I know that we have a need for security around here, especially considering some of the emails we get. But I want to say that I am particularly interested in having something to do when you don't get $20 million every day. You get a hunk of money like that, and I think you need to really plan to do something significant with it. And I know it's significant when you do a whole bunch of smaller projects, but we don't have the opportunity to do a bigger project that will benefit the community in a huge way and in terms of income. You mentioned last week that you have a particular desire to build an athletic facility in this community, and I think that's one of the best ideas that I've heard in many, many years because of the need of it is demonstrated by the AAU teams that go to Westfield. When Westfield built that little bitty facility up there, people raised heck and thought it was the dumbest idea they ever heard of. And now it's bringing in $2 billion to that little community. We can do something like that significant that will really increase our standing in the community and go along with the convention center and go along with the Larry Bird Museum and the casino. I mean, we're on a roll here, and we need to take this opportunity and do something very significant when we got $20 million. It's burning a hole in our pocket, but we got to be smarter than that. And I think what you said last week is exactly on the money. And I would agree with you very often.
I know. I almost fell in my chair.
I'm going to top that. I agree with Councilwoman Wagner.
The part about not agreeing with you.
Well, yeah, no, I agree, and I've said all along that I would like to see, obviously, the complete plan, but I would like to see a project or several projects, if we have the money for it, that benefits a majority of the county and produces revenue. That just makes total sense to me, rather than just throwing money out piecemeal here and there. One big project or several big projects that can benefit the majority of the taxpayers, because it is supposed to be for them. And I guess I'll stop there.
Thank you. Councilwoman Thies?
I agree, but I also have a concern with the engineering project specifically. And just looking at that, the amount of roads that their rankings are, concerns me, and the ability that our highway department could get that done on their own, and I guess maybe Larry could address this. I don't know that we could get to some of those in a timely manner. And this is a chance to get it all fixed at once. And so from just discussions with that, I absolutely agree, though. I would love, and I've said that all along, this is just one that concerns me from a traffic perspective. I don't want to see roads washed out. The rains and stuff have been crazy and unpredictable in this part of the country, and that really concerns me as well, when you have some instability in some of these culverts. But other than that, I absolutely agree. I would love to see a bigger project, collaboration, hopefully, with our other entities. And as I've said all along, it's been a rough couple of years. We should have something positive come out of it. But I do have concerns specifically about some of the roads living in a more rural area, and actually most of them, I think, are even kind of further in different parts of the county. So I don't know if you could address that or explain that part of it, Larry, because that's kind of a big concern, just specifically on this project.
Sure. Again, Mr. President, members of council, Larry Robbins, Vigo County Engineer. To that point, these culvert projects I fund out of the Kuhn Bridge Fund. I also build bridges out of those, and that is a fund that, as we redo bridges and things like that, costs continue to rise. So we've had a $500,000 increase in cost just on the 2 bridges I've done this year. When I first took over this position 6 years ago, we did a couple structures there, were around $1 million a piece for superstructure replacements of those bridges. That price is $1.5 million now. With any kind of change order, anything runs into that, if we run into issues with any abutments, any piers, anything in that nature, that cost has continued to rise. So that is something that is a stressed budget at this point. This money is an opportunity to capture that, utilize for the purpose that it was, given to the communities to do, and shore up that budget so we can go forward. So if we build these projects now, we place these, as you note, those is a ranking from 10. Several of those were on a 2. To a 1, if I don't have the funding to close it, or the county can't get the funding to close it, then, or to fix it, then I close the road. Because at that point, it's unsafe. So I don't want to see that happen. We try everything we can to do it. There are some minor repairs that we can do in some of these situations to get that, that evaluation up to a 2 from a 1, and possibly reopen the road. But those are concerns that I have going forward, and that budget in particular. Calissa and I have talked about it in the past. That's going to be a strained budget for not only next year, but years to come. Just because the amount of projects that we have to do to cover with that, it generates roughly, $900,000 a year. So that's not even one bridge replacement a year, and we have 200 structures, bridge structures, and 227 culvert structures.
And is there any way in looking at that, and I guess this would be a question for the commissioners as well, as they're putting ideas and plans forward, whether it be on this or the other part of it, reducing some of that budget? In your opinion, is there any kind of wiggle room on that or request, or is that really?
For that
what we
budget
need
in
to do?
particular, Cambridge, those funds are basically earmarked to go for those structures, so.
No, I guess I mean
Yeah.
like on the ones that would be targeted by the request. So are there any, like you said, 2s, 3s, 4s? Are there any, that could be taken off that list, or you feel pretty strong about it?
I feel pretty strongly those are the ones that we need to do, and those also coincide with some of the pavement projects that I'd like to do in the future. Anytime we do any kind of paving and stuff, we want to make sure that those culverts are taken care of first, so we're not cutting the road again.
Right.
So we're just not spending money after money to try to replace these. So I try to do it as complete replacement as we can, as we're a rebuild as we can. So if we do an overlay, we try to do the structures, do all the drainage, make sure everything's taken care of. But there are those instances when these things fail that we need to take care of them beforehand. So.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Wilson?
I fully believe that we need to do this project. However, and I would assume that these would be a high priority on the comprehensive plan list for all $20 million. And when we receive that list, I will happily make the motion that we approve it, but at this time, I'm gonna make a motion that we table it in the hopes that we get that list really soon.
So there's a motion on the floor by Councilman Wilson to table. That's second by Councilman Thacker. Any questions or comments from council before we have vote?
And I just want to stress again, I understand that. I just am concerned about some of the roads with the rains and the weather. And to me, this is one where I feel like it's, you know, is it going to matter if we wait a month or not? I don't know. And obviously, I know where you guys, I feel like, are on this, that we want that list and kind of at least some generalities. You know, we're not saying whatever you give us, you have to do in stone. But I do have concerns out of that. So I just want to stress that.
Sure.
But I agree. I feel like we need more of an idea and communication.
Yeah, one of the things the only disadvantage to tabling it is it kicks the can a little bit farther down the road for some of these structures, and if we get some of these estimates, like right now, if it was approved today, we could contact, contractors tomorrow, get things going. We have enough time in the construction season this year to knock out most of these this year, and probably, if not all of them. If it's a month, 2 months down the road, now you're probably 6 months before you can get started on a lot of these structures. You're into the spring, optimum construction time, trying to get those things done, because a lot of contractors don't like to work in the winter. It draws the project out, it costs more. So they wait till the spring, which then we have to deal with inflation as well again. So I don't think there's an particular issue tabling it, other than the fact that costs, continue to go up daily on some of these jobs, material as well as labor.
And I have a question for, I guess, I don't know if it'd be for President Loudermilk. This sounds like it's in one request, both projects. And so I didn't know if that's gonna be something that can even be changed the way it is, I assume not. Yeah.
We have a motion and a second right now, so I suppose if it was withdrawn or if it was defeated. If we were to do anything different, it would require a motion to amend and then act accordingly from there, whatever that may look like. Any other questions, comments from council? Appears there are none. Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker.
Aye.
Councilperson Wager.
Aye.
Councilperson Thies.
Nay.
Councilperson Norris.
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson.
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson.
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on, we have additional appropriation 2022-25, ROC 2022-36, Council, County General, gasoline. Looks like we have, out of County General, there is a request from the Sheriff Fund for $85,000. The Surveyor Fund for $2,000. EMA Fund, $2,400. Building Inspection Fund, $800, for a total of $90,200. Any questions or comments from council?
Council members, I do want to point out in the request from Sheriff Classy, he provided a range estimate of $75,000 to $85,000, and we advertised at the highest amount so that you would be able to determine what you were most comfortable with.
Was there anyone else that offered a range, or was that the only one?
That's the only one.
Okay, thank you. So there's a range that was submitted. from the Sheriff's Department. Just like any ordinance, we can amend if we so choose. Either that fund or any of the 4 funds, amend to a dollar amount lower than what was advertised. So with that, I'd open the floor for discussion. Councilman Wilson?
I'm just clarifying that this is just to incorporate through the end of 2022, correct?
Correct.
And if we did decide to change that, it would require an amendment to this appropriation request, correct?
Correct. I believe the figures that were presented to us were based upon what the department heads felt that they would need to make them whole through the rest of the year. So I think we did discuss last week, potentially looking at 90 days versus the full rest of the year. I think some of the discussion that we had last week was that with some of the gas prices coming down at this point in time, if they continue to come down, what comes of those funds that were appropriated? So we could either approve what is advertised, or we could do some variation of that, which would require an amendment to either all of this ordinance or portions of the ordinance, where the council has the appetite for.
President Loudermilk,
Councilman Norris?
I'd like to make a motion to amend the appropriation ordinance 2022-25 on the sheriff's line item to $75,000 instead of $85,000.
Are there any additional amendments you'd like to make to that
No.
ordinance? So there's a motion on the floor to amend sheriff fund from the advertised amount of $85,000 to $75,000, with the other 3 funds remain the same. Is there a second?
I will second. I'll second that, because we're seeing prices go down.
Motion on the floor by Councilman Norris, second by Councilwoman Thies. Any questions or comments from council? And this is a motion to amend.
Question, would we then need to amend the total amount, the $80,200?
Yes, we would. You're correct.
Want me to withdraw that?
You need to withdraw it and include that in the motion?
Okay. Okay. President Loudermilk,
Yes.
I'd like to withdraw my amendment
Okay.
and make a motion to amend appropriation ordinance 2022-25, sheriff's gasoline line item from $85,000 to $75,000, total county general fund to $80,200 instead of $90,200.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I will second it again.
Okay. Motion to amend on the floor by Councilman Norris, second by Councilwoman Thies. Any questions or comments from council? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker.
Nay.
Councilperson Wager.
Nay.
Councilperson Thies.
Aye.
Councilperson Norris.
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson.
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson.
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye. Motion carries. So with that, we need a motion to approve as amended.
So moved.
Motion on the floor by Councilman Norris, second by Councilman Wilson. Any questions from council? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker.
Aye.
Councilperson Weger.
Aye.
Councilperson Thies.
Aye.
Councilperson Norris.
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson.
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson.
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. We now have additional appropriation 2022-26, ROC 2022-36, Council, Health, Gasoline. Request is for $8,500. Any questions or comments from council?
Be on page 24.
If there are none of that, if there are no questions or comments, I entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Councilman Wilson, a second by Councilman Norris. Questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker.
Aye.
Councilperson Weger.
Aye.
Councilperson Thies.
Aye.
Councilperson Norris.
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson.
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson.
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye. Motion carries. We now have additional appropriation 2022-27, ROC 2022-36, Council, Highway, Gasoline. Request is for $100,000. Any questions or comments from council? Is there a motion? Motion to approve?
Yes, please.
Second.
Move to approve, yes.
Motion to approve by Councilwoman Wilson, a second by Councilwoman Wager. Questions or comments from council? Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker.
Aye.
Councilperson Weger.
Aye.
Councilperson Thies.
Aye.
Councilperson Norris.
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson.
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson.
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye, motion carries. Next, you have additional appropriation 2022-28, ROC 2022-36, Council, Parks. It is for gasoline. Request is for $24,000. Any questions or comments from council regarding this request? If there are none, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Motion to approve by Councilman Thacker, second by Councilwoman Wager. Questions from council?
I thought they did a most comprehensive preparation for this. I appreciated that. I'm going to say it here. When I said it on the budget, they were talking about that. They took a proactive approach.
I agree.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you for those comments. Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker. Councilperson Weger.
Aye.
Councilperson Thies.
Aye.
Councilperson Norris.
Aye.
Councilperson Weger. I'm sorry, Councilperson Wilson.
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson.
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. And lastly, we have additional appropriation 2022-29, ROC 2022-36, Council, Juvenile Justice Non-Reverting Fund. Request is for $3,000 for gasoline. Any questions or comments from council about this request? Councilman Thacker?
Make a motion. $3,000 non-reverting fund?
Yes.
Make a motion for that.
Motion to approve by Councilman Thacker, second by Councilman Norris. Any questions or comments from council?
Just one real quick one that's sort of kind of off the subject, but I had someone earlier today ask me how I maintain hope, because I believe in miracles like tonight where we're all in agreement on so many things. So it's like, there's hope for us, yes. Sorry, off topic, but yes. I think it's awesome.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yes. You're welcome. What I do.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Thacker. Aye. Councilperson Wager.
Aye.
Councilperson Thies.
Aye.
Councilperson Norris.
Aye.
Councilperson Wilson.
Aye.
Councilperson Thompson.
Aye.
Councilperson Loudermilk.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Honorary resolutions, there are none. Resolutions relating to fiscal policies of the council, there are none. There are no appointments. And rather than adjourn the meeting, I think what we agreed upon earlier was to recess until August 23rd, 4:30 PM here in the council chambers.
30 or 4:15?
I thought it was
Thought we changed
4:30.
it to 4:30. It started out 4:30, then you changed it.
I think the vote was 4:30 though.
The vote ended up being 4:30.
Yes. So, August 23rd, 4:30.
And good luck to all the kids and teachers going back this week.
Right, so
First day's Thursday.
4:30 now.
Today's my first day.
meeting's recessed. Thank you.
Thanks.